Along the fertile plains of the Indus River, one of the world's first great civilizations rose and fell. Larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined, it was a world of colossal cities and 1 million people. And yet, for 3,000 years, history completely forgot it had ever existed. It is the great enigma of the ancient world, a civilization of immense sophistication that left us no texts we can read. No king lists, no religious texts, no record of their laws or their literature. Their entire world has to be reconstructed from the silent testimony of what they left behind in the earth. The story of their rediscovery begins in the 19th century with a new kind of empire. The builders needed ballast for the tracks and found a convenient source, a nearby hill of old, strangely uniform baked bricks. Along with the bricks, some strange stone seals, carved with unknown animals and a mysterious script, were found. But it wasn't until the 1920s that archaeologists understood the true significance of these finds. Systematic excavations began at 2 vast sites, Harappa in the north and Mohenjo-Daro, the Mound of the Dead, in the south. What they unearthed was stunning. Not a primitive village, but one of the world's first and largest planned cities. The streets were laid out in a precise grid, some as wide as modern 2-lane roads. The houses were not huts, but substantial multi-story buildings, all built from standardized, mass-produced bricks. But the greatest marvel was not the streets, but what lay beneath them. The cities of the Indus Valley had the world's first and most advanced urban sanitation system. Almost every house had its own private bathroom and a connection to this city-wide network. Towering over the main city was a massive raised platform known as the Citadel. And on this citadel was found the most remarkable structure in the entire city. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, a watertight public pool the size of a modern swimming pool. Its construction was a masterpiece of engineering, its floor and walls sealed with natural tar. Its purpose appears communal, not recreational. The structure suggests it was used for public ceremonies, possibly involving ritual bathing. Near the bath stood another massive structure believed to be a great granary, a central storehouse for the city's wealth, its grain, which was collected as taxes. An organized city, a sophisticated water system, and a centralized economy. But one thing was missing. In Egypt, the center of the city was the pharaoh's grand palace. In Mesopotamia, it was the king's court. In Mohenjo-Daro and all the cities of the Indus Valley, no palace has ever been found. There are no grand royal tombs, no monumental statues of great rulers, no inscriptions boasting of a king's conquests. It is a civilization of incredible order and uniformity, but with no visible leader. It is a profound puzzle. So who were the people who lived in these orderly, leaderless cities? Our clues are small, personal, and exquisite. They were master craftsmen, creating beautiful, standardized pottery, a testament to their organized production. They were masters of decorative stonework, creating necklaces and beads of astonishing precision. And they created thousands of small, intricate seals, each one a miniature masterpiece. These were not just art, they were tools of administration and trade, used like a signature or a company logo. The images they carved show a world of powerful animals, bulls, elephants, rhinoceroses, and a strange unicorn-like creature. But it is the line of script above each animal that holds the greatest mystery of all. For 100 years, the world's best minds have tried to crack this code. All have failed. Is it a true language or just a system of symbols? Without a Rosetta Stone, we may never know.
And so, the people of this great civilization remain silent. We see what they built, but we cannot hear their voices.
But we know they were not isolated. Their trade network was vast, reaching the great empires of Mesopotamia. Sumerian texts speak of a place called Meluha, a land of exotic goods, which most scholars now believe was the Indus Valley. They were a civilization of cities, of trade, and seemingly of peace. The evidence for large-scale warfare is almost non-existent. For 700 years, this vast, peaceful, and orderly civilization thrived, a Bronze Age superpower. Then, around 1900 BCE, something went wrong. The great cities began to decline. The sophisticated trade networks that were its lifeblood began to fail. The standardized weights and measures, the symbol of their unity, began to disappear. And the elegant script, used for 2,000 years, was forgotten. The great cities were slowly abandoned, their people leaving for smaller settlements in the east. The Mound of the Dead finally lived up to its name, becoming a ghost city, left to the wind and the sand. So, what happened? What killed this immense and peaceful civilization? Was it invaders, climate change, or a foe from within? For decades, the most popular theory was a dramatic one, a violent invasion. This theory was linked to ancient texts like the Rig Veda, which contain myths of a storm figure named Indra, described as a destroyer of forts. It was also based on the final, grim discoveries made in the last days of the Mohenjo-Daro excavation. A violent end for a peaceful people. For years, this was the accepted story. But as archaeologists studied the evidence more closely, the invasion theory began to fall apart. The handful of skeletons, fewer than 40, were not all from the same time period. Some were buried centuries apart. And there was no evidence of a destroyed city, no burn layer, no sacked buildings in this final phase. The invasion was a myth, born from a misreading of the evidence. The true culprit, scientists now believe, was the river itself. Core samples from the earth around the cities have revealed a dramatic story of climate change. Around 2000 BCE, the monsoons that fed the river became weaker and more unpredictable. This led to long periods of devastating drought where the great river shrank and the crops failed. The droughts were then followed by shorter periods of intense, catastrophic flooding. Archaeologists have found thick layers of silt and flood debris, showing the cities were repeatedly inundated. But the river was not just an enemy from above, it was also an enemy from below. Geological research suggests that a massive earthquake may have catastrophically altered the landscape. This could have created a huge natural dam, blocking the flow of the Indus River to the sea. Behind this dam, a vast lake would have formed, slowly and inexorably drowning the surrounding lands. But even more devastating, the changing path of the rivers may have simply moved away from the cities altogether. A great city built on a river cannot survive without its river. The source of its life and trade was gone. No single theory may be the answer. It was likely a perfect storm of disasters. A long decline, not a sudden event. A slow, grinding retreat in the face of a changing world. The people did not all die. They migrated, moving east to the Ganges River Valley. Here, in a new land, they would help create the foundations of a new civilization, classical India. The Indus script vanished, replaced by a new one. The old ways were forgotten. The memory of the great cities was lost to time. And so the greatest civilization of the Bronze Age vanished, not with a bang, but with a slow, quiet fade. A puzzle with no final answer.
a story with no words, and an empire, until recently, without a name.
What lessons can this silent civilization teach us today? It is a stark reminder of our dependence on a stable climate. Their world ended when the rains failed and the rivers moved. A 4,000-year-old warning, written in silt and dust. It is also a fascinating glimpse of a different way of organizing a complex society. A world of incredible conformity and cooperation, without the grand palaces or giant statues of kings. Perhaps their greatest secret is not their script, but their ability to organize 1 million people across a vast territory, seemingly without a powerful central ruler. Was it a council of elders? A college of priests? A merchant oligarchy? Their unreadable script holds the answer. The key to their beliefs, their history, and their power structure remains locked away. But the people of the Indus left another living legacy, a genetic thread that continues to this day. Their symbols, like the bull and the peepal tree, echo in the iconography of later Indian religions. The unwritten empire did not truly vanish. It simply transformed. Its people and its ideas becoming the foundation of the next great chapter of history. Its cities are silent. Its language is lost. But its children are 1 billion strong. And its greatest monument is not a palace or a tomb, but a profound and enduring silence. A silence that invites us to listen to the stones, to study the clues, and to respect the limits of our knowledge. And a silence that challenges us to keep searching for the voices of the unwritten empire. This grand civilization, peaceful and orderly, offers a fascinating alternative model of what a society can be. Their focus on public works, like sanitation, surpassed even the later Romans and was not seen again for millennia. But the greatest legacy is the one we can't read. The challenge of the Indus script continues to haunt linguists. Each new seal that is found adds another precious word to this silent, lost language. One day, a new discovery, a bilingual text, a Rosetta Stone for the Indus, may finally unlock the door. Until that day, the people of the Indus Valley remain the most profound mystery in human history. A civilization that achieved greatness not through war or grand monuments to individuals, but through order and cooperation. A story of a silent giant whose secrets are still waiting to be unearthed. A world of profound mystery whose greatest puzzle remains unsolved. And a silence that challenges us to keep searching for the voices of the unwritten empire. Unlike the empires that left stories of kings, the Indus legacy is written in the language of community. Their genius for urban planning is an ancient blueprint that modern cities still strive to achieve. Their obsession with water management is a lesson that echoes with profound importance in our own crowded world. And the reach of their trade was extraordinary. Their crafted goods have been found thousands of miles from home. A 4,000-year-old testament to the human desire to connect, to trade, and to share beauty across borders. The cities fell silent, but the genetic and cultural threads of its people were woven into the vibrant tapestry of India. Their story is a profound lesson in humility, a reminder that even the greatest civilizations can vanish. It challenges our idea of what history is. History is usually the story of the victors, of the kings, of the writers. But what of the history of the silent? The people who built and traded and lived, but did not write. Their lives were a mystery, and so we must learn to read the clues they left in the earth. To listen to the story, to told by a broken pot, a city grid, or a handful of ancient grain. The unwritten empire has no grand narrative of kings and wars. Its story is quieter and perhaps more profound. It is the story of a people who, for a time, mastered the art of living together. A story of order without a visible emperor, of wealth without ostentation, and of a peace that lasted for centuries. And though we may never read their words, the civilization they built speaks for itself. A story of a silent giant whose secrets are still waiting to be unearthed. A world of profound mystery whose greatest puzzle remains unsolved. A testament that our past is not a closed book, but an ongoing investigation. A civilization that reminds us that what is unwritten is not necessarily unknown. We just need to learn how to listen to the silence.